Hey you guys, this is Crow here from Crow Archery and Motorcycle Adventures, and today I'm going to answer a question that I got asked about the limbs on the Hoyt Satori and which set that they should go for. So, first things first, I'm going to say right now the easy answer is the best quality that you can personally afford. Um, and that can range from, there's several giant price ranges in that regard, especially like one of the actually the two biggest ones that come to mind on the cheaper side are the DOS bamboo core limbs and then the Trad Tech Black Max 2.0s. Uh, I've never owned either one, but all over the internet, people rant and rave about how great those limbs are. And they're actually really, really well priced. So if everybody's talking about how good they are, then there might be some merit to it to consider and think about. Personally, what I've got on my Satori, this is a set of the Velos carbon limbs. And before that, I had the DOS 3K carbons. I've had a set of the regular limbs that you can buy with the Satori. And next on my list, I would like to really try out Uka, maybe some win and wins, just different ones to play around with. That's one thing I love about the ILF setup is the fact that you can do that and you're not stuck with just one manufacturer. As far as the limbs that I have tried, between these Velos carbon limbs and the DOS 3Ks, I will say for this, I think it's like a $600 price difference. Um, Honestly, I like both of them overall equally. Um, these Velos carbons, the only reason I even have these is like with every hobby I've ever had in my life, I will get something and then I'll sell it and trade up, or just constantly trade up. I'm not constantly blowing money on stuff, and I mean, I'm not saying I haven't, as traditional archery is not cheap, especially if you fall in love with it. But these that I've got right now, this is a 40-pound set, and this is a 17-inch riser. At my draw length, I've measured it, and on the scale, but I've got one of the hand scales. I don't have actually one of the scales that you can turn and crank it back, whatever that machine is called. So on mine, there's a little variance, anywhere from 42 and a half to 44 pounds is what I pull at my draw length on these. And honestly, I would rather have the 50-pound set, just because that's like what I normally shoot. These limbs work great, and honestly, they're really nice. They really, really are. Now, as far as other manufacturers like Uka, they have their reputation for a reason. And I would actually really like to check those out and try those out because of the S-curve profile. I think that'd be pretty cool and pretty neat. Side note on that, if anyone has a set of the Velos carbon limbs in the long length on, rated at 50 pounds, if you're interested, I would do an even swap, back and forth. I'll either pay for your shipping plus my shipping, or, maybe we could work something out. And the funny thing is, I know based on the quality of the content that I release as far as the archery world and stuff like that, people may be a little hesitant, but I will say this. More of you have bought bows from me than what you realize. And my eBay store, well, it's not really a store, but my eBay account and everything has 100% positive feedback, and it's been that way for several years. Because I do mean everything that I say with every video that I post whenever it comes to talking about your character and, how traditional archery helps develop you as a person to become a better person. So I stand behind every single thing that I say, especially whenever it comes to professional matters. So one thing I will say is that, again, if you're a little hesitant on that, or if you do have a set that you would like to trade, just contact me via my email address, and maybe we could get something worked out. That would be really, really cool. But I'm particularly looking for the long length limbs with 50 pounds of weight. Now, the DOS 3Ks. One thing that I really like about the DOS 3K carbons is their price point in comparison to these Velos limbs. Like the DOS 3Ks, they went up in price. I want to say now they're like $370 for a set. And then these are $880 for a set almost. And to be honest, comparing the two, they're very, 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 very similar. I mean, similar enough that if you were to put a blindfold on and try both of them, I would not be able to really tell the difference in the smoothness of the draw or even the cast, really. That's just my personal opinion. Take that with a grain of salt. But, again, I've had both of them. I enjoy both of them. And I would be more inclined to take out a set of $370 limbs to the woods than I would be almost a $900 set, if that makes sense. I mean, considering, what we do as bow hunters going out into the woods, going through the brush and the grass. I'm not really a big tree stand hunter. I prefer to hunt from the ground with a ghillie suit. I don't know. There's just something magical about that. It's insane when you're on the ground and you are level with a deer, and it is just, or even turkeys or whatever game animal that you're pursuing, it just feels so different. It feels natural and surreal. And by no means am I knocking or saying anything bad about hunting from like a saddle or a tree stand or anything like that. There's nothing wrong with that. I have done that. I've just found that with my preference, I love 62-inch recurves. And up in a tree stand, a 60-inch is about the longest that I've found that is, to me, not giving me a lot of encumbering, equipment. But again, I prefer a 62-inch recurve because my draw length is long. I have a long draw length, and that's why, I don't know if you can tell, I've got bear shafts on here. I've been trying to bear shaft tune these limbs and everything, and it's been kind of a challenge because, again, I have a longer draw, but I'm trying to put more weight up front with this light pound setup. And it has been a challenge because, I'd try a 500 spine, throw, the amount of weight that I want onto it, and then getting down to whenever I'm having to cut the arrow, the length is getting to the point to where it's like coming up on the shelf. And of course I need it to be a little longer than that. So I got a set of 400s and I've started working with that. And now with the 400, with the amount of weight, I've got about that much farther in front. And I know some of it is inconsistency of my release and form and stuff like that, but I'm struggling, with the arrow spine. Sometimes like I'll shoot and it'll read weak. Sometimes it'll be perfectly straight, and then other times it'll show like it's too stiff. So I'm still working through that. I will get it. It'll be okay. But either way, to answer the question, overall, I'm going to go with the simple answer. I would get the limbs that you can most realistically afford. And keep in mind that if you plan on hunting with this, then in my mind, I would want to go with something that I would be more okay with being damaged or scuffed up or scraped up when I'm out in the woods. But again, that's whenever I like to bow hunt on the ground, not, in a tree stand or anything like that. So realistically, when you're doing that, you're going to be going through a lot of brush and terrain and things like that. So things are going to happen to, your bow and to your limbs. So I would keep that in mind. Am I saying that, these Velos carbons are not worth buying? No, not at all. I actually really, really enjoy these limbs. I really like them. And, I'm kind of debating back and forth because these 40-pounders, I can hold those all day, no problem. I could probably do it for several minutes at a time, just, staying there for target and stuff. So I might end up keeping them. But like I said, if the right deal comes along, I'm willing to trade. But I really would only want to trade even for a set of these long and 50 pounds. But other than that, again, I love you guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions concerning the Satori, let me know. Or a multitude of other bows. I've shot a lot. You know, I don't know if any of you guys know this or follow my channel at all. If you do stumble across this video, I will give you a recap. Overall, you know, I'm a very like lone wolf kind of person, so I spend a lot of time by myself, and most of my time is spent dealing with traditional archery equipment or riding my motorcycles or things like that. So I do have a lot of time that I dedicate to doing this to learn more and more. And by no means am I saying I know everything. I do not believe that at all. There are plenty of other channels here on YouTube that you can learn a lot from too. And honestly, there's a lot of guys out there that have a lot more experience than myself. And I'll just leave it at that. But either way, like, share, comment, subscribe. I love you guys. Peace.